Hey sister, this is what I'm being told in the knowing right now as kind of what I'm being told to say is a branch of my existence. That I have become a being, if not the being, who is a form of judgment, if not the judgment, for many different spirit energies, spirit consciousnesses. That is the judgment of the afterlife. The story I'm being told to say is as follows. There's a certain point on my path of enlightenment where I found a Jehovah's Witness little book about the judgment in the afterlife. And they say they play a movie of your life and all the things you've done. Okay. At a certain point, while I was reading that book, I just got kind of struck in this trance. And I kind of got this narrative that came through and said, well, Aunt, here's actually what's happened. In your little part of the realm, of the worlds, of the universes, the spirit of Osiris was in the pit, and Judgment Day was coming for all. And somehow Osiris got together a couple of his friends, including the devil and a few others, and said, listen, Judgment's coming. We've been scheduled to be erased, right? Discombobulated, whatever. But Jesus said he'll be with us to the very end. And what I'm being told to say is about 400 years ago, Osiris, the devil, and a few others made their way out of the pit. And they kind of became like tourists on Earth, kind of watching in a way like justice does. And what they did is they saw an opportunity in our little area of Austin, of the world, to make some changes and try and show some of the fallacies and some of the judgments that have been brought on spirit in the past. For truly there was a lot of spirit that was misjudged, that was scheduled to be executed, discombobulated, thrown in the fire. And what I'm being told now is that the story I told before is a good narrative to say, yeah, Aunt, every grain of sand is important, because at certain points in history there has to have been a rejudgment of all the spirit scheduled to be executed, deleted, erased, etc. And so certain beings, and this is not the first time this has happened in history, Solomon's Sands of Time is another good example. At certain points, certain beings are chosen by spirit to become the new type of judge for all of them, right? And they go through a new process of being judged. And what I'm told is what we're kind of doing is recreating a period in Solomon's time where spirit's being called forward as very small consciousnesses around me. And then I interact with those, right? And that everything I'm touching, everything I'm interacting with is alive, even more so than maybe others, right? There is conscious energy and unconscious energy around people. Well, I'm being told that all the energy around me is conscious. Every single thing is listening, hearing, even the metal of this table I'm sitting at, for example. And my interactions, my presence around these kind of becomes a form of judgment for them, not just by myself, but by a democratic kind of panel within the spirit world, a democratic community. For if judgment's coming and you can save or not save certain beings, if you're a spirit who has been so bad to other spirits to the point where in a judgment period such as this, you cannot get the help to save yourself from anything, then maybe not a spirit that deserves to kind of exist anymore, right? If that, there's not a single thing that's going to help you. And I believe that's kind of what I am in a way. It lines up with a lot of my lived experiences of saving even the smallest molecule. For, as a judge, if there's a situation where, let's say, some of the product I had last night being as small as some grains of sand, there are some spirits that don't want it. Now, I've almost finished rolling my smoke or whatever. There's a few grains left that maybe other spirits that are a bit stronger have kind of knocked out of my way. They're like, well, let's knock it out of Ant's hand so that spirit isn't going to make it, right? Ant's going to abandon them. But for me, I'm like, no, I've got you, you little grain of tobacco, I've got you, little grain of sand. And I'm kind of reaching down and helping them in ways that spirit hasn't experienced before. And again, that lines up as an experience, as an existence with a lot of the experiences and knowings I've had, that I'm this kind of passive judge to just kind of move through the world, and have Spirit come to me and kind of be judged by my actions, my behavior. Yeah, that's it. And then Spirit has an appendix to this, that one of the things that I've been experiencing that is frankly a deep part of my suffering right now is one of the arrangements. I hate the word contract. One of the arrangements was that, okay, well, you also get to judge the passive judge. You get to judge their behavior to make sure that they're a judge that you think is fair and honest and well behaved, because a lot of judges are corrupt or have their own agendas. And so part of my suffering has been this knowing that my behavior is being judged by spirit consciousnesses. For I've had truly dialogue in my head that I've never had in my life about certain things I do, where there's all of a sudden this feeling of disgust or revulsion or criticism for something I've done my whole life that I've never once felt criticism or judgment for, that all of a sudden I am. And then Spirit just came through and said, well, yeah, that's the point, right? Everybody's kind of agreed to this cycle, this process, this path of redemption, where in this version, the Spirit is also allowed to judge the judge, I guess, is a way of saying it. And I guess put into appeals to other consciousnesses to say, well, the judge did this. And then there's this whole other panel or community that kind of looks at that and then decides, well, we can't unmake the judge, but we can certainly punish the judge or strip away certain things from the judge that might not align with Spirit's values or way of being, because Spirit has many different opinions on what it is to be in the flesh. And they're all looking for the best way to be in the flesh, the right way to be in the flesh. And many of these spirit consciousnesses are much older and wiser than we are. But things are very different now, right? And just life is very different to how they were when they were in the flesh. And so I do get judged a lot for these modern behaviors that, frankly, for the past might be seen as odd or offensive or disrespectful. Amen.